saying.
Clinton.
So
you mentioned Hillary Clinton, though,
yeah.
and I was struck by the fact that you don't want Donald Trump to be the nominee. You said that everyone should go ahead and support the candidates who are out there. If it's John Kasich in Ohio, vote for John Kasich, and Marco Rubio in Florida, that you're almost wishing for a brokered convention.
Well, I'd rather see someone besides Donald Trump become the nominee outright on the first ballot.
But what if he does?
If that doesn't happen, if that doesn't happen, then I'd like to see a open convention where there's more give and take between the candidates, and someone else besides Donald Trump becomes the nominee.
You heard what Lindsey Graham said about that, Governor, and he's no fan of Donald Trump. He says that a brokered convention wouldn't be fair to Trump, and that he would leave, and he would have a right to leave.
Well, if he wants to leave, that's fine. Everyone has a right to do whatever the heck they want to do. But in a convention, let's say Donald Trump had 40% of the delegates and the other guys have 30% each, and what does that give us? All right, that's 100%. Right. All right. So in a case like that, you'd say that's 60% that don't want Donald Trump, and totally appropriate for them. Let's say they get together, form a ticket. That's how politics works. People don't have to be afraid of real politics.
Ticket and says, all right, I'm going to put Rubio on it, or I might put Ted Cruz on it.
Hey, if those guys go along with it, that's their right to do it.
And you would support that ticket?
Look, I'm not going to support Donald Trump as the candidate for president of the United States. No, I'm not going to vote for Hillary Clinton, that's for sure.
So Mitt Romney, the 2012 presidential candidate, would sit out an election?
No, I'm not going to sit out. I'll either vote for a conservative who runs, or I'll write in the name of a conservative. But I cannot.
That would prevent the Republican nominee, Neil, most likely, from getting.
I cannot, in good conscience, vote for a person who has been as degrading and disruptive and unhinged as I've seen Donald Trump be.
In so doing, electing Hillary Clinton.
I'm going to do with my conscience what I believe is right for the country and what I can live with as an individual. And the elements that I've laid out about Donald Trump, with regard, his economic plans will cause a recession. His foreign policy plans would cause us to be less safe and in more danger. And his personal temperament is of such a nature that it would keep America from being as it's been, the shining city on the hill.
Andrew Jackson was an ill-tempered president.
It's been a while. It's been a while. And I probably
But he did okay.
I probably would not have been wild. Donald Trump is a whole new phenomenon, in my view, and other people have different views.
When did this start, Governor? I know it's one thing he says that you were testing the waters yourself for this election year, and the prospect of his entering the race gave you pause.
You know, what was the phrase that Ted Cruz said last night about Donald Trump's association with truth? It's a tenuous association with truth. I looked at this race back in January. It was unimaginable to me that Donald Trump would even enter the race, and that if he did,
but if you knew then what you know now, that Jeb Bush and the backers were all glomming to him.
It wasn't Donald Trump. My point is, I didn't think he would become the powerhouse he is. I was wrong. Look, in politics,
but Jeb Bush, a lot of money was going to him, and that was the argument. That maybe that was giving you pause, that the donors were running to him. Knowing what you know now.
No, I'm going to correct the record again, which is I had all the donors I need who supported me and said they'd be with me. But I looked at the race and I said, look, Hillary Clinton is going to be hard to beat. Another bad prediction on my part, because she's turned out a lot weaker than I thought. She's going to be hard to beat. It's going to take someone new, someone who hasn't run twice before. It's going to take a new face, and I said a new generation of political leader to be able to beat Hillary Clinton.
When you come forward now as an old and familiar face, you're kind of crashing the party, and they say you're trying to destroy the party. You say what?
Well, Donald Trump is having an effect on the party, which I think is very serious and negative, and I'm trying to make people understand, while we still have a chance, that the Republican Party stands for something.
But what if he's bringing all these new people into the party?
If he brings in people who understand who he is, and understand what he really stands for, and understand his true record, why, that'd be something that people have to respect. I happen to disagree with what he stands for, but the will of the people gets to make the choice that the people have in mind. But frankly, what he stands for and what he has done in his life and what he has been saying during this campaign. When a guy gets up and says George W. Bush is a liar, but Vladimir Putin, he's a strong, powerful leader, that is something I can't abide by. And by the way, he is completely dishonest time and time again. Last night he said that he's never praised Vladimir Putin. Look, on Morning Joe, he said, we get along, Vladimir Putin and he is a strong and a powerful leader who's popular with his people. The guy has a real problem with the truth.
All right. Well, we never quote other shows, just so you know, Governor. But I do want to bring you, and I know your time is tight, but obviously you knew ahead that this would be tough on you. Some people would come out to the degree they have. But NBC News is reporting, see, I quote another organization, well, the American Freedom Party, which I guess is promoting white nationalism, is going to put out ads effective today or this weekend targeting you. Mitt Romney and his mean-spirited establishment conservatives protect big-moneyed interests. We're captains of industry, reap billions in profits, while the working man struggles to make ends meet. Donald Trump is a populist. He cares about the working man. I would imagine we're going to see this played out across the country.
Well, I'm happy to have the Trump supporters attack me, because that means they're not attacking Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, and John Kasich, who I think would be far better nominees than Ted Cruz. So they can waste their money attacking me, because
but these
I'm
are going to be robocalls everywhere, and they're going to use you as a poster child for the old.
But let me ask this question. All right, let's look at the line they have in there about wealthy people taking advantage of people of modest means. Is there any greater example of that you're aware of than Donald Trump going after people for Trump steaks and for Trump vodka and for Trump mortgage and for Trump vitamins and perhaps worst of all, Trump University?
But Trump has also said that that's just a part of an empire that's vast and gotten billions.
So if I do something that's really awful and I really hurt small people, if it's just a small part of what I do, who cares? No, I don't believe that.
But if you've had failed businesses or invested in businesses that failed.
Of course you have, but what you don't go out is say, I'm going to get your degree here at my university. I'm going to tell you the secrets of real estate, and then have thousands upon thousands of people say, wow, I got bilked. I didn't get what I was told I would get, and bring a class action suit against him.
What if you get just the opposite reaction, Governor? Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the senior advisor to the Trump campaign, said that Romney's exhortation against Trump will only cement his appeal to voters, that you're actually helping him.
You know, I can't talk about what the political implications would be. I'm not going to worry about that. I know that I'm getting a lot of incoming, a lot of hate mail, and the kinds of things that you could expect from some of the Trump supporters. But I also know that I couldn't sit by and watch someone who has done the things he's done and lived the way he's lived and said the things he said during this campaign, and who has time and time again laid out policies which are not Republican policies. This is a guy who says that puts in place a tax plan which, combined with his spending plans, creates $10 trillion of additional debt. I can't stand by and pretend that's Republican.
All right.